Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonzo. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at your questions and comments from part 2 of The Huns, the Scourge of God. Just as a reminder, we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also posted our email address and Instagram information. Moving right along, mythology tells us one thing, while archaeology teaches us another. Our first question is from Esteban. He asked if the Huns ate horse meat. Yes, Esteban, they did. In most nomadic cultures, it was quite common to eat horse flesh, dog, and just about anything else that they could find. Our next question is from Galena. She asks about Hun women. Did they have more or less freedom than the other steppe women? Galena, we can't really be sure because we have conflicting historical accounts. Most likely they moved freely about with men and had roughly the same amount of freedom as the women from the other steppe cultures. Our next question is from Anton. He asks why the Huns so easily defeated their enemies. Anton, the Huns were masters at warfare and just did it better than those other groups that relied on horse archers. Once they engaged with Western armies, they were confronted with a completely different style of warfare. At first, the Western armies fell for the Hun tactic of feigning a retreat. The Huns were also able to break through their lines. Once the Western armies developed different strategies to face the onslaught of the Hun cavalry, that made the situation on the battlefield quite different. The Romans, led by Aetius, defeated Attila at the Battle of Chalon. Though it was Attila's only defeat, the savage battle was enough for the Huns to retreat back to their lands. Let's press on. Next we have a question from Patrice. She wants to know, what prompted the Huns to do head binding? Patrice, this strange practice was very popular among the Huns, especially the Alchon tribe. It displayed pride and distinguished them from other peoples. Let's see, Gary wants to know if it is true that the Huns drank blood. Yes, Gary, it is true. While on long forced marches, it was common to sparingly drink horse blood. They were careful not to injure their mounts. Why did they drink blood, you ask? It was a much needed source of protein. Also keep in mind that these battle-hardened warriors owned a string of mounts. Those that were getting old or couldn't keep up with the pace, well, to put it lightly, bon appetit. Let's press on. Our next question is from Lesya. She asks, did baby girls also have their heads elongated? Yes, Lesya, unfortunately they did. Throughout history, many cultures have used other forms of body modification. Such practices include scarification, tattooing, and dental engraving were all quite popular. The practice of modifying the skull is a clear mark of social identity, perhaps because it was not a personal choice, rather it was a practice by the indigenous society that the infant was one of their own. Next we have a question from Howard. He says that he read somewhere that the Huns did not practice metallurgy. Is this true? Howard, I have also heard this theory, yet be assured that I don't believe it could be possible. Why? How would the Huns have managed to arm and train a massive army if they could not make their own weapons? Where would they even get those weapons? From the battlefield? Well, how did they defeat that army if they did not have their own weapons? Our next question is from Lucia. She wants to know if the Huns practiced divorce. Lucia, not much is known about Hunnic society as a whole, therefore I can only speculate. I would say yes. The common people most likely were allowed to divorce. Yet I would hazard a guess that Hunnic women had as many rights or standing as women from the other steppe tribes. Well, we have time for a couple more questions. This one is from Arturo. He wants to know, did the Huns have iron weapons? Yes, Arturo, they did. The Huns had an array of weaponry. Spears and swords were quite common. However, it was the bow that was their weapon of choice. The Huns were masterful at horse archery. Our last question is from Stefano. He asks, was Attila as dangerous a threat as was believed by the Romans? Yes, Stefano, he was. Attila was a charismatic ruler who believed that it was his destiny to conquer and rule all who stood in his path. He had an intense hatred for the Romans and found particular enjoyment out of sacking and destroying Roman cities. For all intents and purposes, he was in essence the Scourge of God. This brings us to the end of part 2, the Huns, the Scourge of God. Thank you for once again joining us for this edition of Traveler's Tales. Just as a reminder, we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also included our email address and Instagram information. Please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions or comments. We love hearing from our subscribers. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to Traveler's Tales. This really is the best way to help our channel grow. Traveler's Tales will return with shamanism and its influence on ancient cultures. Until we meet again at the crossroads of folklore and history, Kartistos.